There's a war happening inside most people. Not the kind you see on the news, not the kind fought by armies and drones and AI, and not the kind that's announced with noise. This war is quiet, private, invisible. It happens when the alarm goes off and nobody's watching. It happens when the promise gets hard and nobody's clapping. It happens when the old version of you wants comfort and the future version of you demands growth. That is the war. Not you against the world, you against the version of you that keeps surrendering. Every person has two voices. One says, stay where it's safe, wait until tomorrow, rest a little longer. You have time, you have an excuse, you have a reason. The other voice says, get up, move, decide, keep your word, become what you said you would become. Both voices sound like you. That is why the battle is difficult. The old self does not look evil. Sometimes the old self sounds actually reasonable. It says, you've been through enough. You deserve a break. You can start next week. You can skip this one time. You can let this pass. And so on and so on. But one time becomes a pattern. A pattern becomes a personality. And personality becomes an identity. And then years later, the person looks around their life and says, how did I get here? One compromise at a time. The future self speaks differently. It does not beg, it does not scream, it does not force. It waits. It waits inside the mirror. It waits on the other side of the bridge. It waits at the top of the mountain. It waits behind the door that you keep refusing to open. And every time you choose discipline, you move closer. Every time you choose comfort, you move further away. Most people are looking for a battlefield outside themselves. They blame the economy, they blame their family, they blame their environment, they blame their past. And some of those things may have been real. Some of those things may have been painful. Quite frankly, some of those things may have shaped you, but they cannot be allowed to own you. At some point, the battlefield moves inside. Your schedule becomes your battlefield. Your habits become your battlefield. Your appetite becomes your battlefield. Your phone becomes your battlefield. And your thoughts becomes your battlefield. And the question becomes, who is commanding your life? The enemy rarely shows up wearing the face of destruction. It shows up in convenience. It shows up as entertainment. It shows up as comfort. It shows up as another hour of scrolling. Another day of delaying, another promise postponed. Enemy understands something most people don't. It does not have to destroy you all at once. It has to distract you long enough for your potential to expire. That is the danger. Not sudden failure. No, slow disappearance. Losing this war does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks normal. A normal job, a normal routine, a normal excuse, a normal life. On the side, the person knows. They know they were capable of more. They know they were called to do more. They know they had gifts they never used. They know they had ideas they never acted on. They know they had standards they kept lowering. That internal knowing becomes heavy. That heaviness is not confusion. It is the weight of abandoned potential. The war changes when a person gets tired of betraying themselves. Not tired of life. Tired of their own excuses, tired of their own delays, tired of their own patterns, tired of saying one thing and living another. That moment matters, because transformation rarely begins with motivation. It begins with disgust, anger, a sacred disgust, a clean disgust, a powerful disgust. The kind that says, enough. I can't keep living below what I know. This is where the standard enters. A standard is not a wish. A standard is not a mood. A standard is not something you say when you feel inspired. A standard is a line you refuse to cross. A boundary. A standard is the behavior you no longer accept. A standard is a promise you keep when nobody's watching. The old self hates standards because standards remove negotiation. The future self requires standards because standards create identity. Every day you cast a vote, not in public, not on paper, and not with an applause. You vote with your actions. You vote with what you eat. You vote with what you watch. You vote with what you tolerate. You vote with what you repeat. And the future counts every vote. Your subconscious pays attention. The future does not care what you meant to do. Your future only records what you actually did. Here's the truth. You do not defeat the old self in one dramatic moment. You defeat it through repetition. One early morning, one honest decision, one workout, one page, one call, one uncomfortable conversation, one promise kept, one good day. This is how the war is won. Not through emotion, through evidence. You show yourself evidence that you are different now. There is a version of you that does not negotiate with weakness. A version that moves with discipline. A version that speaks with conviction. A version of you that walks into a room with peace because they know their private life is aligned. The version is not a fantasy. That version is not luck. That version is not reserved for special people. That version is built decision by decision, day by day, standard by standard. The quiet war will continue. Tomorrow, it will be there. When the alarm rings, it will be there. When the excuse appears, it will be there. When the old pattern calls your name, it will be there. When the old habit calls your name, it will be there. But now you know what it is. It is not just laziness. It's not just procrastination. It is not just distraction. It is a war for identity, a war for discipline, a war for destiny. Win the quiet war. Win the private battle, win the invisible moments, and one day, the world will see the person you became in silence. Your future's listening. The art of self. I win the quiet war within me. I choose discipline over comfort. I keep my word when nobody's watching. I stop negotiating with my old self. I raise my standards. I become evidence of my own transformation. I protect my focus. I honor my future. I move with purpose. I become who I said I would become. My future's listening. The art of self.